here with Miami coach Anthony Noreen ahead of this weekend's trip to Omaha, and we will take some questions.
All right, Coach, the results from last weekend speak for themselves, so we don't need to go back from that, but how do you build from that now? So obviously there's learning lessons from this past weekend.
Yeah, I think it's just like any other weekend. There's going to be good. Like there's always, and it's our job. Part of a team I've always felt is when you're going through what we're going through, you're trying to build some confidence and you're trying to build a foundation, habits, and identities. You have to catch guys doing things right. You have to find good examples of what it looks like when you are doing it right. You have to show it. You need to praise it. You need to show why it's what we want to look like. You need to call out the guys in a positive way. And there was plenty of that from the weekend. Obviously, we need more of that. We need to be more often. We need to be for longer spans of the game. But Troy had a really good point, and we talked about it as a staff and then with our team on Monday there was a 3-minute span in the game, exactly 3 minutes on the dot, on Saturday night where they scored 3 goals, and there was another 3-minute span where they scored 3 goals. If you took that out, which it's hockey, you can't take that out. But, outside of that, we played a solid game. Now, we need to find a way to, A, not get into those spans, B, have a group and a leadership mentality as a team to stop the bleeding in those moments and get things turned, and whether that's a line or a D pair or a reset on the bench, whatever that is, like, we need to find our game and find what we like more consistently. And again, let's find a couple things. We picked out a couple things that we think, hey, we could address these things in video, in practice. We do what we always do. We meet with each guy individually and show them some stuff. We go out, we rep it, try and build some more confidence, and you have a plan for UNO.
And one of those, I guess, that maybe kind of helped stop some things. You hate to pull a goaltender anytime. I know, and no coach likes to do that. But you got Brett Miller a chance to get in to play some games. How good was it to know that he's had some experience? He's coming in as a fifth-year player, so he was able to kind of help stop the bleeding a little bit.
Yeah, and it's certainly deserving for Mills to have gone in, just based on his work. Nothing against the other 2 goalies, but based on the work he's put in so far this year. Shows up, works every day, works at it just the same as the rest of those guys. Supports them, great teammate. And again, I don't think it was a surprise to us that he went in and did what he did, but he gets a quality chance that the second shot that he sees coming in cold and for him to make that stop. I mean, it was, again, the score is the score, but we try and talk about being our identity and the type of team we want to be no matter the score, in the energy on our bench, in the feel that you had amongst the entire group, based on truly caring and being truly happy for him, going out and having a good result and making some saves, especially early when we needed them. Yeah. But over the course of that game, I think that shows what type of teammate Mills he is.
And first guys off the bench as the game ended, obviously the result was what it was, were the 2 other goaltenders. I mean, I know there's this thing called goalie nation or whatever it is that they want to do, but even Bruno, who had to get pulled from that game, was out there and kind of pumping up Brett Miller.
It matters. It matters in what we're trying to do. And again, it's not going to show up on the scoreboard, but in the long term of what we're trying to build, stuff like that is really important.
Being a goalie, just to stick with that, being a goalie can be kind of a lonely position in the sport. And both Dolls and Bruno, tough weekend. I think a lot of those, not necessarily their fault, not ones that they are probably kicking themselves about. But how do you help psychologically with that sort of lonelier position, help to pick them up, and you and the coaching staff help to pick them up, and really the other guys in the locker room too?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of, similar to the rest of the team. Now, obviously, there's always going to be a spotlight on a goalie, like a quarterback or a pitcher. It's just the life you choose when you take that position. And obviously, they're wired a certain way, and they're used to that for the most part of the spotlight being, because when you win a game, who's the first guy you always credit? It's just a way that it goes in that position. But similar to the other guys, I mean, we're going to show them the stuff. Zach does a really good job with our goaltenders, where he has a plan for them. He's going to show them their touches. He's going to, where could they be better? What did he like about their game? We're going to go out. We're going to do individual goalie sessions that Zach's going to lead with those guys to try and address some of this. So a lot of exactly the same things we're doing with our forwards specifically and our D specifically, as far as building their individual game and then connecting their individual game to our team game is something we're just working on throughout the week. And that position, maybe more so than any, is also a confidence thing. And it's building those guys up and making them believe and know that they're capable, but also that, hey, they're prepared and they're ready and they've put the work in throughout the week. And, it's never been for lack of work with those guys. And what I like about them is, in those games, it could very easily be like, well, the D didn't, or there was a turnover, they hung me out. It's always, no, I need to be better. And that, like, again, that's what leadership is. That's what character is. Like, you take maybe more of the blame than you deserve when it comes up. And I think both those guys all three of those guys, I should say, are highly competitive. And again, I think it's going to be very soon here where we're going to be talking about one of those guys, whether it's stealing a game or maybe outdoing the other guy. And I think that they keep, kind of knocking on the door to be able to earn that.
Saturday, you made some personnel decisions, and has the team responded? What's been the response? Has the team responded the way that you expected them to this week, 3 days into practice now? Getting ready.
Practice has been really good this week. They've been competitive. They've been dialed in. Again, anyone who spends any time hanging around this team, you will never know what the result is. I think we showed up Monday and they were ready to work, and it's been extremely competitive all week, and that's the way that we want it to be. Ultimately as a coach, you're going to make decisions based on what you think is the best for your group in the short term and long term. Those decisions aren't always right, but that's the job. And you have to take the information you have as a staff and make what you think is the best decision for the group. We made some of those decisions on Saturday. Again, time will tell, long term, short term, were they the right ones? But again, we believe in a lot of those guys, and we feel that they're going to come out better for it on the other side.
So going to Omaha this weekend, their results kind of similar to where our squad is at this point right now. They've got an outstanding goaltender that really lit things up a year ago. So what do you see as you get ready for Omaha this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, a good goaltender that led a team to a Clark Cup final in the USHL, that led a team on the run that UNO had last year. So I think it starts with him. And right from the first tournament they played that opening weekend, just talking to the other teams that played him, I know that Simon was pretty special in those games. And again, it's similar. They're a very structured team. They're organized. It's a coaching staff we got a lot of respect for. I think just watching their special teams and a lot of that stuff this week, they're really good there, and they've just got a really good mix of players. And I think they added a couple key pieces out of the portal, guys that some we're familiar with, but some were just guys that had a lot of success in college hockey. So I think they supplemented well there, and maybe not record-wise where they would want to be, probably with what they're returning and maybe some expectations. But, man, watching them play against Western last week, and even I was just on the phone with someone who was at those games, like, man, there was no space, and it was a highly, highly competitive, physical, high-end hockey game. So, again, going to have to be at our best, and we'll see how much of a step we've taken from last weekend to this weekend in a really tough road test.
One final thing, we're at a unique part of the schedule here right now. You got a bye week next weekend, play again the week after that, and then off for a month. So how do you structure practice? How do you kind of keep everybody engaged when you've got this kind of looming down the road here in a couple of weeks?
Well, I mean, I think the keeping everyone engaged, I like to believe that that's just the easy part. Like, you're a hockey player, this is what we do. Like, it's our life. And sometimes there's time off, and sometimes there's back-to-backs and travel. And what we do is just, look at what's directly in front of us. And, sometimes that's rest. Sometimes, hey, that's rest, and let me, take some time off, rest my bumps and bruises, spend time with family, whatever that is. But we're kind of one day at a time with that. So next week, obviously we'll get through this and we'll address them. Maybe there's a guy that needs a day or two off. Maybe there's some guys that we need to push harder. We'll kind of get through the weekend and go through that. And then for us, it's a time to hit the road recruiting a little bit as well. So it's playing both sides of that, which again is a good thing.
I asked Rihards this, and I need an impartial opinion. A lot of guys sporting the stash, and is Rihards is his the best one on the squad?
Well, it's funny because I think we got something from the NCHC asking for us to submit a guy. So the other day when we were going down the line at the end of practice, Troy's like, "Hey, we got to figure out who's got the best stash here," and we're going. They're like, "That's a good one. That one's really solid." Like, Grosic's got a pretty good one going right now. Rihards might be the best though. I think he's probably at the top of the list.
We're here with Rihards Simanovičs ahead of Miami's trip to Omaha this week, and we will take some questions.
Hey, Rihards, we're not quite to the halfway point of the season so far, but you've had some time now to go under the new coaching staff and everything. And how was the transition for you in bringing in everybody new here? And kind of, you had 1 year under the old one, and now you get 1 year under the new one. So how's that all gone for you so far?
I think it's been pretty good. The coach has been really throughout with all the stuff they want to teach us, and they've been very detailed and specific with our systems and how we want to play D zone, O zone, neutral zone, and how we want to transition throughout those zones. So I think the way they put it in front of us has been really easy to understand. It was just up to us to take what they gave us and just learn that information and go out there and execute. So,
how does that work for your game then? So, I mean, do you find it, because the end of last season, you were really starting to kind of get into the flow. You're getting quite a few assists along the way, close to scoring a number of times. So how does that kind of fit your game this year? Does it give you that same opportunity?
I would say yes, for sure. I think it's just a little adjustment and something different and some other systems and tactics to think about. But overall, like, it's just, you got to go out there and play hockey at the end of the day, and it doesn't matter what systems you play, and you can adjust to that and just play your game at the same time.
Sure. To go off of that, you've found yourself, particularly this last weekend, with a good number of scoring opportunities, able to pinch up. And so how has your offensive game developed over the course of the offseason and into this year?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I always try to play the same game, and maybe like out there in practices try to work on some shooting stuff and maybe some drills with the stick handle and like skating and stuff like that. So it's hard to say how exactly it's involved, but I just go out there every day and try to work on it, try to do some different tricks and stuff, new stuff that I could implement in the games, and hopefully I have the opportunity to show it.
2 weekends in the books for NCHC play. We know it's a tough league. Every week is tough, but looking ahead to this weekend at Omaha, it's a team that you had an assist against last year, towards the end of the year. So what are you looking forward to as far as what this weekend can bring?
I think it's just a good opportunity for us to go out there and play better than we did this week. And as always, we work during the week very hard to try to implement the systems and tactics coaches want us to play. And I think it's another good opportunity to go out there and show everyone that we can do it, and we're a good team and we can play against those teams, and they're nothing special and we're just like them.
I want to go back for a second as well, talking about some of the skills, the offensive side of the defenseman. And I know early in the season I was watching some of the practices earlier, and some of the shootout drills that you guys will do. You got some pretty good skills for a defenseman. In fact, you even were one of the shootout guys, I think, at the series in Ferris State. So how do you work on those kind of things? Where does that instinct comes from? Even though you're a defenseman, do you kind of build yourself more, I guess, as an offensive defenseman?
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I think I kind of try to be good in both ends, trying to be kind of more two-way, I would say, just be good defensively and shut down plays as coaches want us to do. And at the same time, I try to create those scoring chances in the offensive zone. And those shootout stuff, I mean, it's hard to say where that comes from, but it's kind of, as I always tell like guys when someone asks, it's hard to like explain that feeling when you are in that position and what you can do in that position. So it's kind of more the instinct side of that, and it's like really hard to say like what exactly I'm looking for, but it's more like instinct, yeah.
See a number of guys sporting the mustache, but do you have the best one on the team?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you have the best one? What do you think? You have the best one on the team?
I would say I have the best one. I'm pretty confident.
All right, one final thing too, Latvia. That's where you're from. You got a couple other guys from your native country. How did you get to Miami? What was that route from Latvia to Oxford, Ohio?
Yeah, well, I can't remember what age I was, probably around like 14, 15, and my dad has always been big on education and going through the school and having good grades and learning. So that was kind of the road we chose pretty early on, and it was something we were trying to go for. And I remember back home we were trying to come up with ways to, get here and see these schools and all that stuff. And he even made this like big Excel sheet with all the schools and like what their rankings are and all that good stuff. And yeah, so it's been a goal, and yeah, it's been a long way, but I'm here and I'm happy, yeah.
How long a trip is that to get home for you?
It's probably like a good one is like 16 hours, I would say, but the longer ones are 20 plus.